Come on. Take your feet, guys. When I close my eyes and think of you, I reminisce of all the things you do. I can't imagine my life without you. 'Cause I gotta rise now that I know that it's real. Some mysteries I thought someone secret that I just need. What you did, I'm proud of me. Makes me wanna love you more. I could be so happy. I never knew I'd be so secure. Be so happy. I never knew, and I never knew I'd be so secure. Because of your love, life has brand new meaning. It's gonna be a brighter day, brighter day.
It's going to be a brighter day, brighter day, brighter day. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. This is IJ, the African. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Of course, we're on our move, the rise of the African, our social media Pan-African movement that is trying to bring together as many Black people as possible so that we can move forward as a people, continue increasing the brighter days, and not just in our personal lives but in the lives of everybody that look like us, and then in the lives of everybody who don't. That's right. So this is where we are. So y'all know that this is what we do. We are trying to always increase the African in you, helping you become aware of the God inside you and the God outside you, and the God inside everything that you see. It's the experience of the rise of the African. So we're asking you that if you're watching us on Facebook, please hit the thumbs up button, right? Like, comment, share. This is how what we do called community outreach, to let people know what we're doing. So we are fighting up against being in FB prison, right? I get too controversial sometimes, and so we're gonna come back from that. So to reconnect our algorithms, I think I got 3 more days in jail where they push our algorithms to the bottom of the barrel. So we're gonna fix that, right? And I got a plan for that too. So I'm not worried about it. And then also, if you're watching us via YouTube, and we have a lot of people that watch us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Go to the website where I'm upgrading it. You're going to see a lot of changes on the World of Akibaland website, but we're going to ask you that you go there and notify, because anytime that we're doing any type of programming, we want to make sure that y'all get it all. And we were supposed to be working on another program, and I need to call Houston to see if Houston is ready to fly. Let's go. If you're ready to fly, Houston, let's get it. But yeah, we've just come off of our church's anniversary month. Last week was the last week of the month for us, and I don't know if y'all saw it. We streamed live from youth service church, because we had youth service, and uh, uh, Camila was killing it. Hopefully y'all saw it, and if y'all didn't see it, it's on the page. Y'all go and look at it. That was one of the church's prodigies. Yes, at 2 years old, this girl had a fourth grade reading level. She was a bad sister, a bad sister. I remember walking in, and the kids was reading the books, and at that point, when you're teaching the child how to read, they explain to you what's happening on the pages. And so as I was listening to each child, Camila was having it was a whole different experience going on over there. She was sitting down. I'm like, wait a minute. She's not necessarily explaining to me what's going on the page. She's actually reading the book. And I had the whole class stop. So wait, we got another experience going on. And then I sat with her. And she was, hey, time to read. And we read to the whole class. Man, she's always been shy about how brilliant she is. And I said, there's one thing about her that she does not know how to do, and she does not know how not to be her greatest self. And so I thank the community for that. And so with that, I want y'all to understand that everything that we do here at World of Akibaland, we are about this ancient covenant promise, right? So we are talking about, hey, our relationship with God, our relationship to say, I will be your God if you will be our people. So we are building kingdom building, and a lot of people don't understand what kingdom building is. It's not just a church family. No, kingdom building is building God on earth, having an experience where God can work through you and create the living experience where people can see the evidence of divine energy as they live daily. And so what we do is we are doing it. What we are doing is helping younger folk become more aware of their inner divinity at an early age. Why? Because it helps us create better communities in the future. So and then we always talk about the relationship. Our relationship, this is about our relationship with God, our relationship with our ancestors, those who have sacrificed lives before, and those our relationships with each other, and those who will come after us. And so with World of Akibaland, we are our favorite word. This is it's a process of continuity. It is making sure that this struggle of being a people is transgenerational. And every generation can talk about their journey. And so we got a point where if we dig back deep into our history, we see where we were a people unto the creator and we created great empires. And so we're trying to get to the point where we are feeding that information back to a multitude of masses, where it's not a question of who you are, but it's an understanding of who and whose you are. And then the third, because we always talk about we want you to know who you are and whose you are. But then that third one is also important and what you're called to do. What? Because a lot of people say, yo, my life belonged to God. I'm a child of God. But then what are you supposed to be doing in that space? And so we believe that this struggle to be a people unto God is a continuity. It's our word. And so last week, a week before last, we was talking about how black youth are the change that the world is waiting for. And we know we have you here. And then that Sunday we had Camila preaching, and so of course we're showing the world that we are manifesting within our community, our personal communities, the youth that can actually go out and have a deeper insight on what is happening to the world and then changing it, right? And so today we're going to switch the gears. Today we're definitely going to switch the gears. I didn't get a chance to, a lot of times I like to put together special graphics. And so I had something hit me last night and something that hit me this morning. And I'm in the process of creating this whole new experience. And so I didn't get a chance to do the graphics for today's lesson. However, that don't mean I don't have the title. World of Alkebulan, taking a look at the big picture. Taking a look at the big picture, because there's a project that we're coming across where we're going to try and I'm advertising. I'm advertising that there before the end of the day. I'm coming back and I'm gonna put this up and we're going to say world of Akiba land, the promised land, and we're going to get points of views of what the future looks like for black youth, for what people in our community who have poured into world of Akiba land Academy and world of Akiba land, as well as we're going to see if we can get some alumni to speak. I've been making calls and sending emails and trying to work this out. But we want to take a look at the big picture, because in that space you understand my spiritual journey. To hope you understand to find out your spiritual journey and this is a hundred. This is a journey that is based on pure black love. Pure black love. Your life is a journey of understanding, experiencing, and sharing your version of black love. If building a better society for us to all have the fulfillment, the fullness of life in it is not black love, then I don't know what it is. I can't explain it because everybody's got their version. But my version of black love is creating a life where everybody has the opportunity to be the fullest of who God called them to be and do in a world that God is a part of. And a lot of times we see things that happen where God is not a part of certain people's experience, because this world that we're in, God gives us dominion. That's a whole nother lesson to teach y'all. We have dominion on earth. God said, "That's why I created you. I created you to have dominion over the things on the earth. That's your world. The spiritual realm is God's realm. This realm is ours. And so we have to master who we are in the creator to speak life. And I'm speaking black love. I'm speaking the world of Keebland. I'm speaking the liberation of black people. I'm speaking the transformation of all life with the development of black people, African people. And that's real. So we always say we are looking for, my mission is to tap into a the new generations coming. In my life and in my journey, this is what I was called to do. Period. And it took me a minute, and I was doing this in the early parts of my life, to reach back at the younger generation and bring them along as I develop, and making sure that they have an opportunity. And man, uh, uh, there's a couple of kids from New York. One love, Aunt, how you doing? Uh, Peace and blessings to Jelani. Um, Sending them all up. There's a crew, little David, yo, Paul, there was a lot of sons I had. Kareem, a lot of sons I had. I had a whole ton of sons growing up, and my thing was making sure that they had an opportunity to live life to the fullest before I understood who I was in the creator, right? And of course, you have your friends who are peers, but then you have those who look up to you. And, one love, B, love you, man. All those kids who were like, yo, they were little brothers. Octavius, Archie, Carrigan. I can name y'all all because I was older than most of y'all. That's funny, but I was. And so tapping into those who are younger than you and making sure that they live the fullness of life. Now, growing up, it looked different. Now, when my understanding is different, it's in terms of it wasn't surviving in a neighborhood that was always assaulted. It's actually being able to live in a world and manifesting a deeper sense of thought. I graduated in my understanding, and so now we seeking a higher sense of consciousness. And so, as you travel in your higher sense of consciousness, you will get the visions that you need to help define you. And then that's what this is about. Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday is about you tapping into your higher consciousness, tapping into the greater sense of self, your deeper thought of you. Don't matter your age. You give me a 2-year-old and let me loose their imagination. That's the highest sense of consciousness. 3-year-old, highest sense of consciousness. 8 to 10, highest sense of consciousness. Then when you get to that 9 to 13, highest sense, and then you get to that 13 to 16, different levels of this consciousness that has to grow. And that's why we have to have these rites of passages. So because sometimes it's not about your age, it's about how well you think. African communities, it didn't matter what your age was. If you didn't pass the rites of passage, you were not allowed or be considered mature. Now we talk about age. I had somebody tell me, your daughter grown just because she's 20. No, wait a minute. Just because she's 24. Yes, Ayana's 24 as of November 4th, last week. This is her birthday weekend. No, there's another level for her to get to before I let her loose. And that's at the age. I got one more year. One more year when you can sit down and rent a car by yourself. You don't need to come and borrow nobody's car, ask for nobody's car. You got a credit card and everything. You can get a credit card before you're 25, but you can't really rent a car. And so you need some help. You need some other body's signature. You know what I mean? 25 is it. At 25, you loose. She's at a full state of high sense of consciousness where she needs nothing from another adult legally. And at this particular point in her life, she's been passing all of her rites of passages where she can consider within herself to be an adult. I'm grown. People do that, but you're grown without functioning from a higher sense of consciousness. And so they give you that age, but you're not mature. But this is what we're doing, getting that younger generation to a state of deep maturity. Why? Because we're trying to get you to your personal mission and your vision and your mission. Your vision and your mission. And so here, when the concept came, and we're going to talk, because this is a conversation about World of Alkebulan and the vision and the mission of it, and because we're building on this. After this, all the way through the holidays, we're going to have a guest speaker come on to speak about their vision for Black youth in the future. And how can we equate that and build that into what we're doing and what I see. But first, people have to know what I see. And a lot of times I get a lot of hate in my own community because people don't understand that I've been given a vision. I've been functioning from a higher sense of consciousness and been given a vision and can't give anybody else control over my vision and my mission from God. It don't matter what title you are. God has called me to produce and do something the same way God has called you to produce and do something. We all have a mission in God to kingdom build, but we all have a responsibility in that process of building kingdom. But before we can get to that mission and vision, we got to get to that higher consciousness. Because other than that, your mission and your vision is not stemming from a higher sense of consciousness. It's coming from what we call a conditioned self. And that was what the world makes you think and what the world makes you see and what the world does. But when you start dealing with the issue of a mission and a vision, so yesterday I was in the process of cleansing and purifying my space to get this lesson and to get the vision from what I'm going to do for the up until the new year. And so the vision hits, and I call a couple of people and start plugging people in. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some more people I gotta call. And so I'm gonna call some people out. I'm gonna call, yo, Lutalo. Lutalo, I don't know if you're in Detroit. I need to hear your voice, brother. I'm calling. I'm on the phone. I'm calling. I'm gonna be looking around. I've been calling around looking for your number. I need to call Bakiba after this to get your number. Right. And so we had some individuals come previously. But this time we're not gonna talk about their experience in the world of Alkebulan or Alkebulan Academy. And I'm gonna start taking excerpts from past videos and and promoting them and showing what people experienced. But now it's time to take it another level. There was a conversation that we had, and I've been running the program. I've been in the program since my early 20s. And then there was a situation where there was no vision or mission. And so our community existed almost 20 years without a youth program. And so my daughter, who hit 13, and I'm daddy, I'm hands on. If everybody know brother Jay, he's a big kid. Period. He's a big kid. Period. And that's it. That's why I'm always around. He's a big kid. And so I'm with my daughter, and they were going out, and she became a teenager. And I said, you know what? I need to help guide your thinking, your spirit, and everything, not just with you, but with your friends. So I became the youth program for 20 years. Kids, you didn't even have to ask me, could the kids come over to the house and play? I had a little girl who didn't have brothers and sisters, so her brothers and sisters had to be the brothers and sisters in the community, which is how they grew up in terms of Keebleland Academy. Your brothers and sisters were the kids in the program, so you were never alone. And I didn't want her to grow up with the only child syndrome. So my door was always open to youth. Why? Because I was an ordained youth missionary. And so that's who I am. Period. That's who I am. That's what I was trained to be. I came in spirit and I was trained physically. This is what I do. And this is why I do what I do with a passion. Right? So we have individuals who got some vague memories that can't remember what they had for breakfast the morning before, who are talking. Well, we're gonna clear that up. We had a mission and vision back when I was growing up inside the community. So now this mission and vision, when Bakiba came to me and said, brother, they gave me the title of National Youth Minister. I can't build this program without you because you've been doing this for years. Without anybody's support, without anybody's connection, you every time and every New Year's when parents wanted to go to have a New Year party, the kids dropped off at my house. So then the vision started coming. And then he said, brother, can I count on you to help me build what was Alkebulan? And I said, as long as I don't have the political red tape and you allow me to do what I need to do according to what God has called me to do, not what you're telling me to do, because those are two different things. I'm to the point where sometimes you get to your highest sense of consciousness where you know what God has called you to do. And the question is, do you answer? Do you answer? Do you know what your vision and your mission is? Because they will give it to you. And so in that space, when he said, "Hey, I'm functioning in my highest sense of consciousness, not my lower nature, my higher sense of consciousness, I knew why God called me." And he said, brother, can you help? And I said, let me do what I'm called to do. Hence, I went and immediately created a hybrid experience. We're going to talk about that word hybrid soon. But I immediately went to the altar, meditated and prayed, and said, is this the time for me to manifest the vision that is world of Alkebulan? And so we always talk about you tapping into your greatest self. Why? Because you have a mission, you have a vision, you have a purpose. You have a mission. God will give you, and your ancestors will give you a vision because you have a purpose. You have gifts and talents built on the inside. Why? Because of this. God created you because of this. These two things, you have a mission and you have a vision that he's going to give you, and a mission. You have gifts and talents and skills inside your body that are for these two things, for your vision for you to see and your mission. The minute you get your vision and you know it comes from God, nobody is supposed to be able to tell you what to do and what not to do when it comes to what God has called you to do. A lot of times people need to be told what to do. That means they haven't had their vision and their mission yet. And we're finding a lot of people like that. Now, people do get upset with a brother. Why? Because a brother has his vision and mission. That don't mean I don't want to do what you're doing. No, you can include me. I will include you. But that means you got to communicate. I'm not a do boy. You don't just, hey, just do this and I disappear. Why? Because I got a vision and a mission. And I can sit down and say, name somebody in the community that has done what God has called them to do on a daily basis when it comes to the liberation of black people in the confounds of what we build. No one ever has to give me an instruction. Because now, unless we're doing a special project, I get a call and say, hey, brother, we need your support. I'm there. But there's always a vision and a mission. So yesterday, I was receiving ancestral downloads. When you're open to your state of higher consciousness, that vision and mission becomes into ancestral downloads. And that's when you're getting it's things are coming to you that you didn't know that you were going to think about. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, and it's just hitting you. It's like a light bulb going off. Light bulbs go off when you are tapped in to that higher sense of consciousness. And so the light bulbs in me starts going off. And when me and Bakiba were talking, and then I'm sitting there going down praying, and I'm going down the line of what I'm creating. And then not only that, I took a walk within myself. Woo! Because sometimes when God gives you a vision and a mission, ain't nobody there on that mountaintop but you. Sometimes it's just you. People say, oh, and you have an imagination. Y'all watch. I don't know, adults, if y'all don't watch Phineas and Ferb with your kids, watch Phineas and Ferb with your kids. Because Phineas and Ferb every morning get a vision and have a mission. For me, it was Fat Albert, vision and a mission. Then it was Little Rascals, vision and a mission. And then you start equating those little things where people have visions and missions to your own journey. And so as I started walking into getting my ancestral downloads, and I started having my eye is open. You got two eyes to see, but sometimes you need that third eye, that mind's eye. We talk about that. Understand where we're going to show how this is your part of this. Every being is supposed to be having the experience of a higher sense of consciousness so that they can tap in to their purpose, their vision and mission that God gives. And then once you slowly tap into it, you will get into your downloads. And from your downloads, you will receive your mountaintop vision. Now, you're the only person who sees your vision sometimes. You're the only person that knows your mission. It's just you and the Creator. And when it's just you and the Creator, and you know it's the knowing of you and the Creator, you see things differently than most people. The minute that you go on that mountaintop and you accept that God has given you the download, your ancestors are giving you the downloads. That's that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding. When I hit my download, then life became absolutely clear. My third eye, I don't know if y'all seen the picture with Prince where he had the two shades and he has the glass up here. Yeah, my third eye had bifocals, trifocals, and quadfocals on. I could see clear. World of Alkebulan, WOAATL.org became a clear concept. And then the talents inside me became the manifest to be able to build the things that you see here. And I'm not stopping. Because it wasn't a concept of just Atlanta. It wasn't a concept of just Detroit or Houston or South Carolina, the four places we in, Liberia. It became world of Alkebulan. Because my concept, or the concept that the fact that, and we talk about liberating black people all over. I said, so why we got to wait? Technology has reached a point where the thoughts of Marcus Garvey, where Marcus Garvey came inside my downloads and said, technology has reached a level of, a level that the liberation can embrace, where you don't have to write letters. You don't have to ride the trains. You don't have to get on boats. You don't have to get on planes. You can build a billion-dollar institution. Let's talk about it. That reaches all black youth. Let's talk about it. And create an experience. to all black youth who are proud to say that I am of African descent. Let me see if I can fix that so you can see it. I am of African descent. It doesn't matter where I'm from. It doesn't matter whether I'm from Brazil, I can be in Spain, I can be in Jamaica, right? I could be in Trinidad, I can be in India. Anybody of a melanated state can claim their African descent because the only reason why you're there is because of slavery and the diaspora. We're diasporic, we're still a people. And a lot of us are still living, when you look at us in the world, a lot of us are in places where, yeah, we don't have pride in who we are because the government don't want us to connect to who we are because they're scared of what a unified African people will be. And so my thing is to get you to function in this world, in any world you choose to create, being proud of who God called you to be and the people God called you to be a part of, getting the best out of you. And so when you start getting those downloads and you're accepting that, I'm here to bring something to a people, then I started walking in my knowing in God. That higher sense of consciousness started changing because it wasn't something that I had to question. And a lot of us who actually are doing work within the kingdom of the creator don't function from a knowing because sometimes you can care and sometimes you can quit. Woo. Caring and quitting. Ain't that something? Because when you're knowing that God has called you for your mission and your vision, you can't quit what God got in your heart to care about. You just can't. You find ways that, okay, I need to work around instead of quitting. I need to tap into my imagination and build. Knowing, when you walk in the knowing of God, you begin to capture your ideas of your imagination. And so then I actually put together the concept. When my imagination went wild and I said, wow, what could I do with the world of Alkebulan? What could I do? And so that was the thing, because we called it Alkebulan Academy. But on the internet, we had been calling it the Alkebulan Academy for over 40 years before anybody understood or knew or used the word Alkebulan for a school for black youth, for the development process of the whole child, mind, body, and spirit. We were using the word Alkebulan. But then when the community became and said, hey, let's start venturing out into cyberspace. By the time we started venturing out, our names and everything that we used was already taken. And I had to develop something that wasn't taken, which was the world. Then my imagination kicked. Well, this is not an academy. This no longer just a simple academy. It became the concept of bringing the world of black youth together, the world of Alkebulan. So we have organizations who believe in developing higher sense of consciousness that we may not see the same faith. But why? Because in African culture, there's 4,200 different African spiritual systems. Does that mean that we're not a people? No, that means we just have different faiths. But we all come from the same motherland. So call it the world of Alkebulan. And I coined that phrase. I got the patent on the colors or the symbols, and I began to build world of Alkebulan. And then it shocked. I said, why? Because we need to make a presence online. It's 8 years ago with no community support. Why? Because it wasn't the community who said do it. It was God who gave me the vision. And it was my knowing that I'm in God, and these ideas are coming clearly after me standing on that mountaintop alone to see the concepts where it said, brother, this is what you're supposed to do. And so the minute that I got the concept of taking what the church has built in brick and mortar to move it beyond, I started functioning from a higher level of frequency. The frequency and the vibrations of which I started vibrating in immediately shift. I was no longer just Ajay. I had to become Ajay the African. Yes. So your African, I wanted to make sure that people understood, look, we are about claiming who we are. And there is nothing, and the reason why I put the African in my last in the back of it, that's not my last name. My last name is Tahimba Tulanagwe, right? But I tell you, the African was to make sure that I could care and never quit. Never quit despite what people say or do. That's false. Now, if you got something real to say about me, yeah, you can say it to me, and I'll guarantee you I will function at a higher sense of frequency and change. If you got something real to say, but people yap they mouth saying false, and then they judge you false. But what happens? I function at a higher frequency. Why? Because God has given me an active imagination on what is now my vision and my mission. This is where we're trying to get every child to experience. Every kid needs to experience who they are, whose they are, and what they're here to do. That's what everything we do is based on this. And get it to every single child. Wait, I gotta get back to that picture. Across the globe. Across the globe. And so it becomes an experience. World of Alkebulan becomes an experience starting from birth to the age of 30. What? From birth to the age of 30. I had an elder come to me and said, "Daggone, brother, I'm watching you. You got ages from the ages of 2 to 18 up in here. What would the world look like if you have the ages of 18 to 30? Individuals who come to the community needing more development because they lacked that transition." I said, I got a plan for that too. And I wrote it all up. It's written, right? Stay right here. Sorry. It's actually all written. I put it on my altar, but these are the pages of the Alkebulan program that I've put together from top to bottom. Why? Because I sat down and said, you can't move, and I pray on this every single day. For God's given me the vision and the mission so that I can be who I am. World of Alkebulan, bringing Black youth together regardless where you are, is the part of the vehicle that I have to create before I pass this or transition over. And so I don't just speak the game. I spent months writing it down so that I could sit it on my altar. Oh no, wait, see if you can see it. Can you see it? Executive summary. I put it together as a business plan. I even read it to the youth staff, the youth ministry. And when I first did this, you know what they said? Brother, you can't do that. And I was like, excuse me, I hit so much opposition that they felt that I couldn't achieve what God had given me. And I didn't get mad. Why? Because you weren't on the mountain with me. Obviously, you can't see it because you weren't there. And so did that. I had somebody call, Tanu, one love. Tanu called me and said, brother, you okay? I said, what, Tanu? And she said, because you got a very lofty vision. And the people who are on the phone call, and me and this person really not speaking words, was like, oh, there's no way you can achieve this. I said, Tanu, that's not for nobody to judge. That's for me to talk to with God, because this is my vision in God. And so I'm going to do what God has called me to do, whether I get support or not. Why? And again, we're trying to get every Black youth to see their vision and their mission. And if I could get this particular, we could do this as a community. And partnershiping. As a community, we will have a life where every Black youth can live with the experience of being unapologetically Black. And we always say that. But that doesn't mean it's ghetto. That doesn't mean it's hood. That means we're getting the best that God placed in us with this particular program and process that we've been doing for 40 years. The Alkebulan Academy is a 40-year program. 40 years. And I'm trying to get the people who had the concept of it being a brick and mortar experience. Now, where it's not just a brick and mortar experience, but it's also a cyber experience where we're teaching people how to accept who God has called them to be. And it's different than an HBCU experience because we talk about HBCUs and one love for HBCUs. But when I went to HBCU, one of the things they didn't teach me, I didn't get the African history. It wasn't a mandatory course. I didn't get African spirituality. It wasn't a mandatory course. There were certain things that I thought I was going to learn that wasn't mandatory. However, I got to act a fool. I got to be me in terms of my culture, which was what? New York streets. And I took the time to spend every day in the library learning about African spirituality and African history and African culture to develop my level of consciousness on who I am because I wanted to know what my vision was or my mission in life was. I needed a mission in life so I can get my vision. So with this, World of Alkebulan manifested itself into a hybrid experience in my head. I can get to that page, right? And get to that page. And so this is the page, if you can see it, where I talk about World of Alkebulan as a mobile app, where Marcus Garvey came and had a conversation with me and said that World of Alkebulan can be a vehicle for the liberation of Black people. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. So we want you to get that to that. Well, I got to find my cyber. I'm looking for my cyber center. And so I sat down, and this is 8 years ago. Well, 8 years ago, I put together what it looked like. Wait. If we could have global community support, man. And where's the classroom? I had a picture of a classroom here, and if we could find it, and if you, this is 8 years ago, the center where I sat down and said we need a hybrid experience with kids. 8 years ago. Now the hybrid experience happened 20 years ago, but I was so far ahead of myself, the world wasn't ready, and nobody in the Alkebulan was ready. And so the World of Alkebulan manifested itself to give Black youth an opportunity to be able to commune together inside the walls as well as cyberspace. Why? Because we may not have the full resources to build everywhere. And I said, wait a minute, but that can happen. And that's what's about to happen. I'm trying to tell you, we got some things coming in the next year that I want to share with y'all, but we ain't going to share this today. But it was a hybrid thought process where Black youth can learn under the umbrella and understand who they are, whose they are, and master the arts of being steamed. Gods, and we talk about these centers, these World of Alkebulan centers. From the ages of 2, where it's preschool, because we have early learning, One Love, Bishop Ayana, that's here in Atlanta, to 30. And so in that, when you're talking about these cyber centers that you have, because you can learn social studies, you can learn chemistry, you can learn, reading, mathematics, you can learn all the we'll get to that. Why? Because that's what makes the world go round. The STEAM labs. And we added the A. And so in this conversation now, we're going to talk about the what populates in your brain. Oh, Brother Jay, I know science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And so I'm a champion for this. That every kid needs to master science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Why? Because that's the full gambit of everything. That's the full gambit of everything. The only thing that this doesn't have is sports. So we control science and sports, S and S. Science and sports, technology, engineering, arts, and agriculture. Mathematics. So we're going to add the science and sports in it. So that's physical, technology, engineering, arts and agriculture, which is farming, we need to eat, and then mathematics. Now, as I watched this, then the sermon hit, the true lesson. Wait, let me get to see if I can. I looked at the STEAM, and then the imagination hit and said, God is asking you to function at a higher frequency and read those words differently. And I sat down and came up with the understanding that we are God's science. We are God's technology. We are God's engineering. We are God's art and his agriculture. And we are God's mathematics. This is who we are. So in that, the development of the world of Keebler is helping you understand you. So you get understanding. We are helping you understand you to be the greatest you, so that you can learn what it's like to live a life to be unapologetically black. And so when the world of Keebler came and I had that concept, my first thought was, what would it look like if every black kid was educated to their fullest extent? What would we give the world if all of their attributes and gifts and talents was released? What would we have? What type of world would it be if we weren't afraid to be in our culture or speak our voice or show, our hairstyles? How big could our smiles be and glow and do? What pride would we be able to walk into school with and accomplish the things that we want to accomplish? What could we achieve working together? How beautiful would our black be, right? How beautiful would our minds be, spirits and souls be? We would be able to live in a place on this earth, regardless of the geographical location, and just pure glow. World of Akibaland. And that was the concept. And so I began to go to work for black youth from ages 2 to 30. This ain't just for the kids. If you ever listen to African Speaks, I'm educating people my age on some self-awareness. And I can call people and this is why some people don't like me, because I will call people to the carpet. Some people know more than others and choose not to use it. Choose not to be the African. Choose not to glow in the African glow. If I look at your Facebook profiles and can't see the God in you glowing, what are you doing? Some of us are not showing it, but what would the world be if we could be a people unapologetically black in all things that we do, from the mount of our birth to now? Some of those individuals are Keebler kids. And if you go to the website, you'll see pictures of the Keebler kids. We're going to start changing the website so that it can embody that experience. And so I'm going to be on the verge of a hybrid conference. We're going to do a hybrid experience of we've been doing it anyway, but then there's going to be a hybrid, the largest conference that the world has ever seen. I'm focused on it, and I'm pulling together the resources to get that done, so that kids anywhere, mobile, where you got a cell phone, iPad, or a computer, and if you can fly to the building, we'll fly you can fly to Atlanta or Detroit, Houston, or even South Carolina. But it's being done. The vision and the mission of a greater black community without borders, it's being done. We now have the church itself, the bigger church for the adults, everybody over 30, finally being something called Billakuta. Billakuta is finally a manifestation of the church, where they said we need to create a church, a separate church online, where everything that people experience in the buildings you can experience outside. I've been talking about this for 20 years. 20. They catching up. And so now the concepts, maybe you might see more support, or maybe you might see more outside support. I've been getting tons of outside support more than I get inside support. Ain't that something? I had a sister the other day in the church, Funi, tell me, Jesus wasn't accepted in his own community. I said, but ain't that a shame? We should have learned from that lesson. We should have learned from that lesson, and not push the messiahs, female and male, not push our messiahs away, because a lot of them are talking about how they were pushed away. But we supposed to be building an experience where we are unapologetically allowed to be black. And that is utilizing our gifts to kingdom build all over this world. World of Akibaland seeks to open you up. And so with that, I sit down and say, if you join me at any class, at any session, or I'm always going to uplift. If you have a word that you want to manifest outside yourself, all you got to do is ask me, and I can make sure that your presentations look just as clean and crisp as mine. And I ain't got to be seen. But you're going to have to say thank you to the world of Akibaland, and you have to give thanks to the African, and you let people know that we are unity. We are unified, and we are community. Period. It's what we do. And so If you haven't found your vision of who you are, your mission, and your drive yet, stick around because we're going to have you do it. In the next and up and coming days, we're going to have visitors come through to talk about what they see in the future for Black youth. And it's an inspirations for parents as well as inspirational for the kids. And that's clear. We are changing the world one seed at a time. If you go to the site, it says planting a better seed to get a better harvest. That's who we are and that's who you are. So if you're watching, you are the better seed. And what you produce in your life is the better harvest. Our founder, Jemoji Abebe Ajimi, said, I'm building Kebaland academies so that we can create global Black leadership from infancy on up. Global Black leadership. It's who we are and what we do. What is the vision that you see yourself in when it comes to us being proud about who God called us to be as a people? That's the joy we after. That's the joy the world can't steal. And that's what we fight for. And if you can keep doing that, and you can understand that you are God's steam, you are God's his science, you're his technology, you're his engineering, you are his arithmetic, his art, his mathematics. You are everything because he created you for a world such as this. It is all in your DNA. And if when we get you to tap into that, you will watch the rise of the African within you. When I came up with this concept, rise of the African, and I'm going to push this until we done, until I get people chiming in saying, how can our community connect? And then after a while, you will see me here, and then you will see a classroom behind me. Hybrid experience. Yes, the rise of the African across the world. Beautiful. And so let's continue to build it. And if you can see that, if I can show why are we different, why is World of Kebaland different from everything else? Simply because we love and we seek to have other people express and be loved. I see who God has called us to be. That's why everybody ran to Wakanda before, and they're going to run to Wakanda now because it's what we desire. We have a program and a process to do it. Now, in my church, we have a program and a process to do it. And in the confounds of my church, I was able to create a program within the program. And every time my concept changed, these pictures, these pages get bigger. And I put them on my altar and I pray on them every day and I go to work all the time. Why? Because I want to see the African in you rise. And so I'm going to ask the individuals in my community to come forth and share the African in you and the vision that God gave you for Kebaland. And why this can be an experience where we can reach the entire world. Yeah, that's kingdom building. And I can't wait to experience it. And I'm hoping to experience it in my lifetime. With that being said, let the rise of the African in you manifest as soon as possible because the world is waiting for you. God is waiting.